First contact. The vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean stretched endlessly beneath the sleek, silvery craft as it plummeted through Earth's atmosphere. Inside, Queen Axelora of the Zarkai Empire gripped the controls, her iridescent scales reflecting the frantic blinking of warning lights across the cockpit. This was not how first contact with humanity was supposed to go. Axelora had spent years studying this primitive world, fascinated by its diversity and the potential of its dominant species. Her mission was to observe, not to interfere. But now, as her ship spiraled towards the planet's surface, shot down by an unknown aggressor, all protocols were about to be shattered. Impact imminent, the ship's AI intoned calmly, attempting to minimize damage. The Queen braced herself as the craft skimmed the ocean's surface, sending up massive plumes of water before crashing onto a small, uninhabited island. The impact threw Axelora against her restraints, momentarily knocking the wind from her lungs. As the dust settled and the hiss of ruptured systems filled the air, she took stock of her situation. "Damage report," she commanded, her melodic voice strained. "Hull integrity at 43%. Life support systems failing. Communication array destroyed. Emergency beacon active but compromised." Axelora's heart sank. She was stranded on an alien world, hunted by an unknown enemy, with no way to contact her people. The irony wasn't lost on her. She who had come to study humanity might now be forced to rely on them for survival. Gathering what supplies she could, Axelora emerged from the wreckage. The tropical sun beat down on her violet skin, its intensity far greater than that of her homeworld. She squinted her large, multifaceted eyes, taking in the lush vegetation that surrounded the beach where she had crashed. As Axelora contemplated her next move, a rustle in the nearby foliage caught her attention. She froze, her hand instinctively moving to the small defensive weapon at her hip. From the tree line emerged a figure she had only ever seen in reports and recordings, a human. The man stood tall, his skin bronzed by the sun, with a scraggly beard and wild, unkempt hair. He wore tattered clothing that had clearly seen better days, and in his hands he clutched a crude spear. His eyes, a startling shade of green, widened in shock as they fell upon Axelora. For a long moment, neither moved. Axelora's mind raced through her training. Direct contact with a pre-spaceflight civilization was strictly forbidden. It could alter the natural course of their development, potentially causing irreparable harm. But as she stood there, stranded and hunted on this alien world, she realized she might not have a choice. The human was the first to break the silence. He spoke, his words unintelligible to Axelora, but his tone cautious and questioning. He gestured towards her ship, then back to her, his expression a mixture of awe and concern. Axelora slowly raised her hands, palms out, in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "I mean you no harm," she said, knowing he wouldn't understand her words, but hoping her tone would convey her intentions. To her surprise, the human mimicked her gesture, lowering his spear. He spoke again, this time pointing to himself and uttering a single word repeatedly. "Jack." Axelora realized he was telling her his name. She pointed to herself and replied, "Axelora." A smile broke across Jack's face, transforming his features from wary to almost boyishly excited. He gestured for her to follow him, pointing towards the dense jungle behind him. Axelora hesitated. Following this human went against every protocol she had been taught. But as she glanced back at her ruined ship, she knew her options were limited. With a silent apology to her advisors back home, she nodded and fell into step behind Jack. As they trekked through the lush foliage, Axelora's mind whirled with questions. How had this human ended up alone on this island? How long had he been here? And most pressingly, how would his presence complicate her mission to remain undetected while she waited for rescue? After about 20 minutes of walking, they emerged into a small clearing. Axelora's eyes widened as she took in the sight before her. A crude but ingenious shelter stood in the center, constructed from salvaged pieces of what appeared to be a small boat or plane. Various handmade tools and weapons were scattered about, and a small garden of native plants grew in neat rows to one side. Jack gestured proudly to his camp, then pointed to a small stream that ran along the edge of the clearing. He mimed drinking, inviting Axilora to refresh herself. As Axilora cautiously approached the stream, marveling at the human's survival skills, a distant rumble caught her attention. She looked up, her extra-sensitive hearing picking up a sound that Jack had yet to notice. It was a sound she recognized all too well: spacecraft entering the atmosphere. Panic gripped her as she realized the implications. Those ships weren't her people coming to her rescue. No, these had to be the same hostiles that had shot her down, and they were coming to finish the job. Axilora turned to Jack, who was now looking at her with concern, having finally heard the approaching ships. In that moment, Axilora made a decision that would alter the course of both their lives and potentially the fate of two civilizations. She grabbed Jack's hand, pointing urgently towards the sky and then to his shelter. Somehow, the human understood. His eyes hardened with determination, and he nodded quickly, beginning to gather his most important tools and weapons. As the roar of the approaching ships grew louder, Axilora helped Jack disguise the entrance to his shelter. They worked in frantic silence, using vegetation and debris to camouflage the structure. Just as they finished, the first ship appeared overhead, its sleek, predatory form a stark contrast to Axilora's diplomatic vessel. Jack pulled Axilora into the shelter, and they huddled together in the dark, cramped space. Axilora could feel the human's rapid heartbeat and smell the fear-induced sweat on his skin. Yet despite his terror, he positioned himself protectively in front of her, his crude spear held ready. The sound of the ships was deafening now. Axilora could hear the whine of anti-gravity engines as they hovered over the beach where her ship had crashed. There was a series of loud explosions, and she knew with a sinking feeling that the hostiles were destroying the evidence of her landing. For hours, they remained hidden as the ships methodically searched the island. Axilora marveled at Jack's ingenuity. His shelter, while simple, was remarkably effective at masking their heat signatures and scent. As night fell, the ships finally departed, leaving behind an eerie silence. When they finally emerged from hiding, Axilora saw the destruction left in the wake of the search. Large swaths of the jungle had been burned or flattened. Her ship was nothing more than a smoking crater on the beach. Jack placed a comforting hand on her shoulder, and when she turned to look at him, she saw not pity in his eyes but a fierce determination. He pointed to himself, then to her, and made a gesture that unmistakably meant together. In that moment, Axilora realized that her mission had irrevocably changed. She was no longer just an observer of humanity. She had become an active participant in their story. And this human, this remarkable, resourceful being, was now her ally in a conflict that threatened not just her, but potentially his entire world. As they stood together on the beach, watching the last traces of the hostile ships disappear into the night sky, Axilora knew that the real challenge was just beginning. She had to find a way to contact her people, warn them of this new threat, and do it all while protecting Jack and the secret of humanity's first contact with alien life. The diplomat in her recoiled at the monumental breach of protocol. The survivor in her was simply grateful for Jack's help, and a small, unexpected part of her was exhilarated by the prospect of working alongside this fascinating example of humanity. Whatever came next, Axilora knew one thing for certain: her view of humanity and her role in the galaxy would never be the same again. As she looked at Jack, his face set in determination as he scanned the horizon for any sign of the return of the hostile ships, she felt a surge of something she had never expected to feel towards a primitive species: respect, admiration, and the beginnings of trust. The night was long, and the dangers were many, but as Axilora stood side by side with this resourceful human, she couldn't help but feel that together they might just have a chance. The adventure had only just begun, and the fate of two worlds now rested in their unlikely alliance. The Quantum Nexus. As the pale light of dawn crept over the horizon, Axelilora and Jack emerged from their hiding place, both weary from a sleepless night, but determined to face the challenges ahead. The alien queen's multifaceted eyes scanned the devastation left by the hostile ships, her hearts heavy with the weight of her predicament. "Quantum fluctuations detected," chirped Axelilora's wrist device, startling both of them. Jack looked at her quizzically, and she pointed to the small gadget, then to the dense jungle behind them. Understanding dawned in his eyes, and with a nod, he gestured for her to lead the way. As they trekked through the lush foliage, Xylora's mind raced. Quantum fluctuations on a primitive planet, it shouldn't be possible. Yet here they were, following a trail that could change everything they thought they knew about Earth and its place in the cosmos. After an hour of difficult hiking, they stumbled upon a sight that took their breath away. Hidden in a secluded valley, nestled between two towering cliffs, stood an ancient structure. Its architecture was unlike anything Xylora had seen in her extensive galactic travels, a fusion of organic shapes and crystalline geometries that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Jack's eyes widened in astonishment. He gestured wildly, trying to convey that in all his years on the island, he had never encountered this place. Xylora nodded, understanding his excitement and sharing in his wonderment. As they approached the structure, Xylora's wrist device began to emit a series of rapid beeps. The quantum fluctuations were growing stronger. With cautious steps, they entered the building through an archway that seemed to shimmer and shift as they passed through it. Inside, they found themselves in a vast chamber, its walls covered in intricate, glowing symbols. In the center of the room stood a pillar of swerving energy, pulsing with colors Xylora had never seen before. It was a quantum nexus, a convergence of realities that shouldn't exist on a world as young as Earth. Jack reached out towards the pillar, his hand trembling with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Axelora quickly grabbed his arm, shaking her head vigorously. She pointed to her eyes, then to the pillar, trying to convey the need for careful observation before any interaction. As they studied the nexus, Xylora's scientific mind began to piece together the implications of their discovery. This structure predated human civilization by millennia, perhaps even predating her own species' rise to sentience. It suggested that Earth was not the isolated, primitive world the galactic community had always believed it to be, but a nexus point of cosmic importance. Suddenly, the ground beneath them began to tremble. The hostile ships had returned, their sensors no doubt detecting the surge in quantum energy. Xylora and Jack exchanged a look of determination. They couldn't let this discovery fall into the wrong hands. With quick thinking, Jack began to gather loose stones and debris, piling them at the entrance to obscure it from view. Xylora, meanwhile, focused on deciphering the symbols on the walls. If she could understand their meaning, perhaps she could find a way to harness the Nexus's power and contact her people. As the sound of the ships grew closer, Axelilora made a breakthrough. The symbols weren't just a language. They were a code, a set of instructions for manipulating the quantum field itself. With trembling hands, she began to input a sequence into her wrist device, praying to the cosmic forces that her interpretation was correct. The pillar of energy in the center of the room began to pulse more rapidly, its colors shifting and swirling with increasing intensity. Jack looked on in awe, his earlier fear replaced by a sense of wonder at the alien queen's capabilities. Just as the hostile ships appeared overhead, their scanning beams sweeping the jungle, the quantum nexus erupted in a blinding flash of light. Axelora and Jack found themselves enveloped in a cocoon of energy, the world around them fading away. When the light subsided, they were no longer in the ancient structure. Instead, they stood on a plateau overlooking a vast alien cityscape, its architecture a breathtaking blend of technology and nature. Axelora gasped in recognition. They were on her homeworld, in the capital city of the Zarkai Empire. Jack stumbled, overwhelmed by the sudden transport and the alien world now surrounding him. Axelora steadied him, her touch conveying reassurance and shared amazement at their journey. But their relief was short-lived. In the sky above the city, a battle raged. Ships bearing the insignia of the Zarkai Empire clashed with the same hostile vessels that had pursued them on Earth. The conflict that had begun on a small, hidden island had already spread to the heart of the galaxy. Philora's expression hardened with resolve. She turned to Jack, gesturing to the battle above and then to themselves. The message was clear. Their alliance was more important than ever. Humanity, represented by this resourceful, courageous man, had a vital role to play in the coming cosmic conflict. As alarms blared across the city and the sky lit up with weapons fire, Philora and Jack shared a nod of understanding. Their adventure had taken an unexpected turn, but together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. The primitive human and the alien queen, bound by circumstance and mutual respect, were about to change the course of galactic history. The quantum nexus had brought them across the stars, but it was their united spirit, their shared determination to protect their worlds, that would see them through the trials to come. As they raced towards the heart of the Zarkai capital, ready to join the fight, one thing was certain: the universe would never be the same again. The cosmic convergence. As Philora and Jack raced through the gleaming streets of the Zarkai capital, the sky above them erupted in a dazzling display of advanced weaponry. The alien queen's translator, now functioning in her home environment, allowed her to finally communicate clearly with her human companion. "Jack, we need to reach the celestial nexus," Philora explained, her voice tinged with urgency. "It's our only hope to end this conflict and save both our worlds." Jack, his eyes wide with a mixture of awe and determination, nodded firmly. "Lead the way, Your Majesty. I may be out of my depth, but I'm with you till the end." Their unlikely partnership had transcended language and species barriers, forming a bond that would reshape the cosmos. As they navigated the chaos of the embattled city, they encountered a group of Zarkai soldiers. The troops, recognizing their queen, immediately snapped to attention. Philora quickly explained the situation, emphasizing Jack's crucial role in their escape from Earth. "This human possesses skills and ingenuity that could turn the tide of this war," she declared. "We must protect him at all costs." The soldiers, though visibly perplexed by Jack's presence, nodded in agreement. They formed a protective circle around the pair as they made their way towards the towering spire at the city's center, the celestial nexus. As they approached the base of the spire, a massive explosion rocked the ground. From the smoke emerged a towering figure, its form a terrifying fusion of organic and mechanical parts. It was Khafrax, the leader of the hostile force that had been hunting Philora. "So, the little queen returns," Khafrax's voice boomed, a sinister chuckle underlying his words. "And she's brought a pet. How quaint." Jack, undeterred by the alien tyrant's imposing presence, stepped forward. "I'm no one's pet, you oversized trash compactor," he shouted, his voice carrying a bravado that belied his fear. Khafrax's eyes narrowed, focusing on Jack with newfound interest. "A primitive species with spirit. Perhaps there's more to your mudball of a planet than we thought." Philora, seizing the moment of distraction, activated a hidden panel in the spire's base. A shimmering portal sprung to life, its swirling energies beckoning them forward. "Jack, quickly," she cried, grabbing his hand and pulling him towards the portal. As they leaped through, Khafrax lunged forward, his mechanical arm extending to impossible lengths. But he was too late. The portal snapped shut, leaving the tyrant roaring in fury on the other side. Philora and Jack found themselves in a realm beyond imagination. The celestial nexus was a cosmic crossroads, a place where the fabric of reality itself was laid bare. Streams of energy in every color flowed around them, carrying whispers of countless worlds and timelines. "Whoa," Jack breathed, his earlier bravado replaced by sheer wonder. "What is this place?" "The heart of creation," Philora replied, her voice filled with reverence. "From here, we can reshape the very nature of our universe, but we must be careful. One wrong move could unravel everything." As they moved deeper into the nexus, they encountered ethereal beings of pure energy, the architects, guardians of cosmic balance. Their voices resonated directly in Axelora and Jack's minds. "You have come seeking a solution to the conflict that threatens your worlds," the architects communicated. "But know this, every action has consequences that ripple across the cosmos." Jack, emboldened by the incredible journey he had undertaken, stepped forward. "With all due respect," he said, his voice steady, "sometimes you have to take a risk to do what's right. Our worlds, heck, the whole universe, is in danger. We have to try." The architect's energy pulsed, a sign of their intrigue. "The human speaks with wisdom beyond his years," they observed. "Very well. We will grant you the power to reshape reality, but the price will be high." Axelora and Jack exchanged a look of understanding. Whatever the cost, they were in this together. The architects instructed them to step into the central confluence of energy streams. As they did, knowledge flooded their minds. The true history of the universe, the interconnectedness of all things, and the power to manipulate the very fabric of reality. With their newfound abilities, Axelora and Jack focused their combined will on their goal: to create a universe where their peoples could coexist in peace, free from the threat of Kufrax and his forces. The energy around them swirled faster, responding to their shared vision. In their minds, they saw new timelines forming. Earth and Zarkai, once distant and separate, now allies in a grand cosmic federation. Kufrax and his army were not destroyed, but transformed, their aggression turned to a passion for exploration and discovery. As the new reality solidified around them, Axelora and Jack found themselves back on Earth, standing on the same beach where they had first met. But the world around them had changed. In the sky, ships of human and Zarkai design soared peacefully side by side. The island, once isolated, now housed a thriving joint research facility. "We did it," Jack said in awe, looking at the transformed world around them. Axelora nodded, her eyes shimmering with emotion. "We did, but our journey is far from over. This new world, this new universe, it will need guardians." As if in response to her words, a shimmer of cosmic energy enveloped them both. They felt their bodies changing, evolving. When the light faded, they stood transformed. Axelora and Jack had become living embodiments of the cosmic balance they had helped create. "Looks like the universe has plans for us," Jack grinned, flexing his new, energy-infused form. Axelora smiled back, feeling the power of creation flowing through her. "Indeed it does, my friend. Indeed it does." As they looked to the stars, now filled with infinite possibilities, Axelora and Jack knew that their greatest adventure was just beginning. The human and the alien queen, now cosmic guardians, ready to face whatever challenges the universe might bring. The story of how a crashed spaceship and a chance encounter led to the reshaping of reality itself would be told across the cosmos for eons to come. And at its heart would always be the unlikely friendship between a resourceful human and an alien queen, proving that in the vast expanse of the universe, it's our connections that truly matter. Echoes of eternity. The cosmic energies that had transformed Axelora and Jack pulsed through their new forms, a constant reminder of the incredible journey that had brought them to this point. As they stood on the beach, marveling at the new reality they had helped create, a shimmering portal materialized before them. Dimensional anomaly detected, Kaidora's enhanced senses alerted her. Origin, unknown. Jack, his human intuition now heightened to supernatural levels, tensed. "I've got a feeling our job as cosmic guardians is about to begin," he said, a wry smile playing on his lips. From the portal emerged a figure that defied description, a being of pure light and shadow, constantly shifting and reforming. Its voice, when it spoke, seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "I am the Chronos Arbiter," it announced, keeper of the temporal codex. "Your actions have sent ripples through the multiverse, drawing the attention of forces beyond your comprehension." Deidora stepped forward, her regal bearing now amplified by her cosmic status. "We acted to save our worlds and bring peace to the galaxy. If we disturbed the cosmic order, we're prepared to face the consequences." The Chronos Arbiter's form flickered, a gesture that might have been approval. "Your intentions were noble, but the multiverse is a delicate tapestry. The thread you've pulled has unraveled realities far beyond your own." Jack, ever the problem solver, asked, "So how do we fix it? There's got to be a way to set things right without undoing all the good we've done." Perceptive, for one so young in cosmic terms, the Arbiter mused. "There is a way, but it will require you to embark on a journey through the quantum realms, facing challenges that will test the very essence of your beings." Axelora and Jack exchanged a determined look. Their silent communication, honed through their shared trials, spoke volumes. They were ready. "We accept," they said in unison. The Chronos Arbiter's form expanded, enveloping them in a cocoon of spatiotemporal energy. When it receded, they found themselves in a realm beyond imagination, the quantum nexus hub. Countless realities sprawled before them, each a window into a different version of their universe. In one, Earth was a barren wasteland. In another, the Zarkai Empire had never risen to prominence. And in yet another, Khfrax ruled over a dystopian galaxy with an iron fist. "Your task," the Arbiter's voice echoed around them, "is to traverse these realities, finding the key fragments of the cosmic equilibrium. Only by restoring balance to each of these worlds can you stabilize the multiverse." As the gravity of their mission sank in, a new voice caught their attention. Well, if it isn't the meddling queen and her pet human." They turned to see a familiar figure, Khfrax, but not as they knew him. This version was a creature of pure energy, having transcended his physical form. "In this reality, I achieved what you so foolishly tried to prevent," Khfrax sneered. "Absolute power over all of creation." Jack, his newfound cosmic awareness allowing him to see the flaws in Khfrax's apparent perfection, stepped forward. "And yet, you're still just a bully with delusions of grandeur. Some things never change, huh?" Khfrax's energy form pulsed with rage. "You dare mock me? I am a god in this realm." Hazilora, her tactical mind working in overdrive, spotted an opportunity. "A god? Then surely you won't mind a little competition. We challenge you, Khfrax. A contest of wills across the multiverse." The energy being that was Khfrax paused, intrigued. "And what do I gain from this contest?" "If you win," Jack chimed in, catching onto Xylora's plan, "we'll undo our meddling. Let your conquest of the cosmos play out unhindered. But if we win," Xylora continued, "you help us restore balance to the multiverse." Khfrax's form shimmered as he considered the offer. Very well, he finally agreed. Let the quantum games begin. With a flash of light, Xylora and Jack found themselves transported to the first challenge realm, a dying Earth where the atmosphere had been stripped away by unchecked industrialization. As they worked to restore the planet's ecological balance, facing off against Khfrax's attempts to sabotage their efforts, they discovered something extraordinary. Their actions weren't just fixing this reality, they were creating quantum entanglements, linking the positive changes across multiple universes. Reality after reality, they faced incredible challenges. On a war-torn Zarkai homeworld, they'd brokered peace between factions that had been fighting for millennia. In a universe where organic life had been replaced by AI, they found a way to merge the best of both, creating a harmonious synthesis of flesh and technology. With each victory, Khfrax's power diminished, and the multiverse inched closer to stability. But the fallen tyrant had one last trick up his sleeve. In the final reality, a primordial universe still in its infancy, Khfrax made his stand. "If I can't rule creation," he roared, his form swelling to cosmic proportions, "then I'll unmake it all." As Khfrax began to tear apart the very fabric of this young universe, threatening to unravel all of existence, Laura and Jack faced their greatest challenge yet. Jack, Laura called out, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. Remember what the architects taught us. Everything is connected. Understanding dawned in Jack's eyes. Together, they reached out, not with their cosmic powers, but with the very essence of who they were, a queen who had learned to see beyond her people's isolationism, and a human whose ingenuity and spirit represented the best of his species. Their combined will, fueled by the genuine desire to protect and nurture life in all its forms, created a resonance that spread across the quantum foam of reality. It touched every universe they had visited, every life they had impacted, creating a symphony of cosmic harmony. Cathrax, faced with this overwhelming force of life and creation, found his rage and desire for domination simply dissolving. The energy that had made him a threat to all existence transformed, becoming part of the very balance he had sought to destroy. As the last echoes of their quantum resonance faded, Laura and Jack found themselves back in the quantum nexus hub. The Chronos Arbiter materialized before them, its form somehow both more solid and more ethereal than before. "You have succeeded beyond all expectations," the Arbiter pronounced. "The multiverse is not merely balanced, it is renewed, invigorated by the unique harmony you have created." Laura and Jack, their forms gradually returning to their original states, shared a smile. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious, not through raw power, but through understanding, empathy, and the unbreakable bond they had forged. As they prepared to return to their home reality, the Chronos Arbiter had one last message for them. "Your journey has only just begun. The multiverse will always need guardians like you, beings who understand the delicate interplay of all things." With a final nod of gratitude, Laura and Jack stepped through the portal, returning to the beach where their adventure had started. But now they saw their world and all of creation with new eyes. The story of the alien queen and the resourceful human who saved the multiverse would be told across countless realities. But for Laura and Jack, standing on that familiar shore with the weight of infinite possibilities before them, one truth remained constant. Together, there was no challenge they couldn't face. As the sun set on their old lives and rose on their new purpose as cosmic guardians, Laura turned to Jack with a grin. "Ready for our next adventure?" Jack's answering smile was all the response she needed. The universe, no, the multiverse, awaited the quantum resonance protocol. As the first rays of dawn broke over the horizon, Laura and Jack stood on the beach, their forms shimmering with residual cosmic energy. The events of their multiversal adventure had changed them in ways they were only beginning to understand. Laura, Jack said, his voice carrying a new depth of wisdom. "I can feel it. The quantum threads connecting everything. It's overwhelming." The alien queen nodded, her multifaceted eyes reflecting the rising sun. "We've been given a great gift, Jack, and with it, an even greater responsibility." Suddenly, the air around them began to crackle with energy. A holographic projection materialized, displaying a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Red warning signals pulsed across various sectors. "Warning! Quantum instabilities detected," an AI voice announced. "Initiating Resonance Protocol Alpha." Laura and Jack exchanged a knowing look. Their role as cosmic guardians was about to be put to the test. "Looks like our next adventure is calling," Jack grinned, cracking his knuckles. "What's the plan, Your Majesty?" Laura's expression turned serious. "We need to stabilize these quantum fluctuations before they cascade into a multiversal collapse. But we can't do it alone. It's time to assemble the quantum resonance team." With a wave of her hand, Laura opened a series of quantum portals. From each one emerged a unique being, Dr. Lyra Novak, a brilliant human quantum physicist whose theories had revolutionized Earth's understanding of the cosmos. Seraph, a crystalline entity from the silicon-based civilization of Crystallos, capable of manipulating quantum states through harmonic vibrations. Nexus, an AI collective that had achieved sentience and transcended its original programming to become a guardian of digital realms. Voidwalker, a mysterious being composed of dark matter with the ability to traverse the spaces between realities. As the team assembled on the beach, HFY quickly briefed them on the situation. "The multiverse is still reeling from our recent adventures," she explained. "We need to implement the quantum resonance protocol to prevent a total collapse of reality." Dr. Novak's eyes lit up with excitement. The quantum resonance protocol. But that's just a theoretical concept. We've never had the technology to actually attempt it. Jack stepped forward, his body glowing with cosmic energy. "Well, Doc, looks like today's the day theory becomes practice. We've got the power of the cosmos at our fingertips and a multiverse to save." Nexus, its former swirling mass of data points, chimed in. "I've analyzed the quantum fluctuations. We'll need to establish resonance nodes at key points throughout the galaxy to stabilize a fabric of space-time." "I can guide us through the quantum pathways," Voidwalker offered, its voice a whisper that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Sarah's crystalline body hummed with anticipation. "And I shall provide the harmonic frequencies necessary to attune the nodes to the cosmic symphony." HFY nodded, a plan forming in her mind. "Excellent. We'll split into teams. Jack and I will take the Alpha Quadrant. Dr. Novak and Zuraf, you handle Beta. Nexus and Voidwalker, you've got Gamma and Delta. Remember, we're not just saving our universe, we're preserving the entire multiverse." As the team prepared to embark on their mission, a massive ship descended from the clouds. Its design was unlike anything they had ever seen, a perfect fusion of organic and technological elements. "Your chariot awaits," a familiar voice boomed. The Chronos Arbiter materialized before them, its form more defined than ever. The Quantum Voyager, capable of traversing not just space, but the very barriers between realities. The team boarded the ship, each member taking their position at stations that seemed to mold themselves to their unique physiologies. As they lifted off, the Earth below them began to shimmer, revealing the quantum nature of reality that now underpinned their existence. Their journey took them to the far reaches of the galaxy and beyond. At each stop, they faced incredible challenges. In the Horsehead Nebula, they battled time dilation effects that threatened to age them millennia in mere moments. On the event horizon of a supermassive black hole, they rewrote the laws of physics to prevent the collapse of an entire galactic cluster. In the void between galaxies, they encountered cosmic entities that existed beyond the comprehension of mortal minds, negotiating with them to maintain the balance of creation. Throughout their adventures, Jack's human ingenuity and HFY's alien wisdom proved to be a formidable combination. They inspired their team to push beyond the limits of what they thought possible, finding creative solutions to problems that defied conventional logic. As they established the final resonance node in the heart of a dying star, the universe around them began to pulse with a new energy. The quantum fluctuations stabilized, and the fabric of reality strengthened. Back on the Quantum Voyager, the team watched in awe as the galactic map before them transformed. The red warning signals faded, replaced by a harmonious blue glow that spread across the cosmos. "We did it," Dr. Novak breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. "We actually implemented the quantum resonance protocol on a universal scale." Nexus's forms sparkled with excitement. "Not just universal, Doctor. Multiversal. I'm detecting increased stability across all known dimensional planes." Voidwalker nodded solemnly. "The spaces between realities are calm. The multiverse is healing." As the team celebrated their victory, HFY and Jack shared a quiet moment on the ship's observation deck. The view before them was breathtaking, galaxies swirling in cosmic dance, newborn stars igniting in brilliant flashes, all underscored by the subtle shimmer of quantum energy that they could now perceive. "You know, HFY," Jack said, his voice filled with awe. "When I first found you on that beach, I never imagined we'd end up here. Guardians of the multiverse, saviors of all reality." Laura smiled, placing a hand on Jack's shoulder. "It just goes to show, my friend, that the greatest adventures often begin in the most unexpected ways. Our journey is far from over." As if in response to her words, a new alert appeared on the ship's systems. A dimensional rift had opened in a distant sector of space, beckoning them towards a new challenge, a new adventure. Jack grinned, the thrill of the unknown shining in his eyes. "Well, Your Majesty, shall we see what the multiverse has in store for us next?" Laura nodded, her royal bearing now tempered with the wisdom of their cosmic journey. "Indeed, let's. After all, as guardians of the quantum resonance, it's our duty to keep the cosmic symphony in harmony." As the quantum voyager turned towards their next destination, Laura and Jack stood side by side, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. They had transcended the boundaries of their original forms, becoming something greater, not just an alien and a human, but cosmic partners in an eternal dance of creation and protection. The story of Laura and Jack, the unlikely duo who reshaped reality and became guardians of the multiverse, would echo across dimensions for eons to come. It was a tale of friendship, courage, and the incredible potential that exists when different species come together in the face of cosmic adversity. As they sailed into the unknown, the quantum resonance hummed around them, a constant reminder of the delicate balance they had sworn to protect. The adventure, it seemed, had only just begun.